Today I will show you step by step how to make a transport quiet book. Helicopter has movable propellers and a foil window through which you can see a small penguin that can be detached. Inside there is an opening room with a bed into which you can put a little penguin and a bucket with 2 fish. The helicopter can be rotated around its axis and detached. There are also clouds behind which you can place a penguin and 2 cute birds. You can find the patterns to make it in my Etsy store. So let's get started. We will need stiff felt, scissors, vanishing markers, clips, velcro tape, hole punch, snaps, snap button tool, magnetic clasp with wallpaper knife and cutting mat, invisible foil, and button. Prepare patterns with the title Helicopter Page Part 1 and cut them out. Place patterns on dark blue and white felt. Outline shapes with vanishing marker, then cut them out along the drawn lines. Place one cloud on the base page here. We will start sewing from here to this place. At the beginning and end of sewing, sew forward and back and repeat 3 times. The rest clouds save for later. In the next step, prepare patterns with the title Helicopter Page Part 2 and cut out first 3 patterns placed in a frame. Place patterns on the right color of felt, outline shapes with vanishing marker, then cut them out along the drawn lines. Place this element on yellow felt and sew along the edge in this way. The upper and lower threads are yellow. Now please cut off excess felt along the edge. Green circle place here and fasten it with clips. Then place button with a diameter of 50 mm on top and sew it by hand with double yellow thread. If you want to know how to make it step by step, click on the link at the top of the screen. The last element place on red felt and sew along the edge. The upper and lower threads are red. Next, cut off excess felt along the edge. In the center of this element, draw a dot. Then make a hole here with a hole punch. Choose the smallest size. Prepare first pair of snaps consisting of a plate and a second part of a flat surface and snap button tool. We will attach them in this hole. Turn this element over. Place the plate in the hole on the bottom and the second element on top. Take snap button tool, cover the snaps and press. Prepare a yellow element and draw a dot 8 mm from the edge. And make a hole with a hole punch. Just like before, choose the smallest size. Prepare a second pair of snaps consisting of a plate and a second element with a convex surface and snap button tool. Place the plate in the hole on the bottom and the second element on top. Take snap button tool, cover the snaps and press. Now please cut out the rest patterns from this page. Place patterns on the right color of felt, outline shapes and cut them out. One of the red elements save for later. Place beige element in the center and sew it along the edge with white thread. In the next step, place pillow on bed, 3 mm from the upper edge and sew along the edge. Place bed here and sew it on. Light blue element place on top. We will start sewing from here to this place. At the beginning and end of sewing, sew forward then back and repeat 3 times. In this paper pattern, cut out the inner shape. Place pattern on dark blue elements so that they overlap, and trace the inner shape. Then cut it out. Place prepared element next to bed and sew only along the edge of the hole with blue thread. This element place on the previous one so that the lower edges meet. We will start sewing from here to this place. At the beginning and end of sewing, sew forward and back and repeat 3 times. Prepare patterns with title Helicopter Page Part 3 and cut out first 5 patterns. Place these patterns on right color of felt, outline shapes and cut them out along the drawn lines. Prepare also red element you made earlier. Place propellers and green element under room in this way and fasten them with clips. In the center of this element, draw a dot. Prepare first pair of magnetic clasps consisting of a plate and a thin element with a convex surface. Also take wallpaper knife and a cutting mat. Place the blade here so that its hole lines up with a dot you drew earlier. Then with a disappearing marker draw 2 lines along the side holes. In the next step, make cuts with a knife along these lines. Then take this element and insert its arms into the holes. Next, place the plate on it and bend the arms outwards. Turn this element over, place room element in the center, and sew along the edge. The upper and lower threads are red. In the next step, cut off excess thread along the edge of the red element. Prepare Velcro tape and Velcro pattern and cut out 1 pair of Velcro with loop and hoop side. In this paper pattern from previous page, make hole and a place of dot. Place pattern on red elements so that they overlap and draw dot in the place of hole. Then place Velcro with a hoop side here and sew it along the edge. Place this element on the red one so that the right edges meet and sew along the edge with blue thread. The bottom thread is red. Place this pattern on foil and cut out its shape. It doesn't have to be very precise. Next, cut out the inner shape in this paper pattern. Place pattern on blue elements so that they overlap, and trace the inner shape. Then cut it out. Place foil under this element and fasten it with clips. Then sew both elements along the edge of the hole with blue thread. The bottom thread is also blue. Next, turn this element over and cut off excess foil along the seam line. Place prepared element here. We will start sewing from here to this place with blue thread. The bottom thread is red. At the beginning and end of sewing, sew forward and back and repeat 3 times. Place prepared element on red one so that they overlap, and fasten it with clips. We will start sewing from here to this place. At the beginning and end of sewing, sew forward and back and repeat 3 times. The upper and lower threads are red. Place the helicopter on the base page and draw the place where magnetic clasp touches the base page. Prepare the second pair of magnetic clasp consisting of a plate and a second element with a flat surface. I will attach them in the place of this dot in the same way as before. Place the remaining clouds on the base page and sew them in the same way as the first cloud. Now we can finish the base page, place it on dark blue felt and sew along the edge. The upper and lower threads are blue. In the next step, cut off excess thread along the edge of the base page. Now we will make a penguin, so please cut out these patterns. Place patterns on the right color of felt, outline shapes and cut them out. In the center of this element, place Velcro with a loop side and sew it on. Turn this element over, place it in the center and sew along the edge. The upper and lower threads are black. In this paper pattern, make holes in the places of dots. Then place pattern on white elements so that they overlap and draw dots in the places of holes. Here I will embroider eyes with French knot method with black mulling. How to make it step by step I showed in another video, link is at the top of the screen. You can also draw them with black fabric marker. Place ready element on black one so that the lower edges overlap and sew along the edge. The lower thread is black. Place the last element on top here and sew it along the edge. The bottom thread is the same like the color of your Velcro. Finally, cut off excess thread along the edge of the penguin. At the end, cut out the wrist patterns to make birds. Place patterns on the right color of felt, outline shapes and cut them out along the drawn lines. Arrange these two elements in this way and draw eyes with vanishing marker. I will embroider them with black mulling in the same way as before. On the previous elements, place wings and sew them along the edge. In the next step, place red elements here and fasten them with clips. Then place birds on blue and yellow felt and sew along the edge. The upper and lower threads are the same. Finally, cut off excess felt along the edge of the birds. If you would like to combine helicopter page with my other quiet book pages, prepare the first paper pattern and make hole in the place of this dot. Then place pattern on the base page so that they overlap and draw dot in the place of hole. Then prepare a hole punch, choose the largest size and make hole in the place of this dot. Then weave a shoelace through each hole of the base pages, tie a bow, and it's ready. The helicopter page is ready. Thank you very much. If you want me to make specific page, write in the comment. See you next time. Bye bye!